When did you realize your sibling wanted you dead? I'm staring at my grandmother's oxygen tank, watching the numbers tick down, when she grabs my wrist with surprising strength for someone 3 days away from dying. Sarah, honey, there's something I need to tell you about Marcus. My brother's name makes my stomach clench the same way it has since we were kids. Even now, at 28, successful attorney Sarah Chen still feels like scared little Sarah when it comes to Marcus. But Grandma Rose has morphia flowing through her veins, so I assume she's about to tell me some sweet story about how he used to help her garden or something equally irrelevant to the man who hasn't visited her once in the past 6 months. What about him, Grandma? I smooth her gray hair back from her forehead, the way she used to do for me during my asthma attacks. He tampered with your inhaler. The words hit me like ice water. What? Her grip tightens. When you were 12. That bad attack you had right before the academic decathlon finals. Marcus, he did something to your rescue inhaler. I saw him in your room that morning, messing with your backpack. My hands start shaking. I remember that day with crystalline clarity, October 15, 2003. I'd been preparing for the state finals for months. My parents were so proud, had invited the whole extended family to watch me compete. Then my inhaler failed during the worst asthma attack I'd had in years. I ended up in the emergency room instead of on stage, watching Marcus accept some meaningless JV football trophy while I struggled to breathe through a nebulizer. Grandma, why didn't you say anything? I wasn't sure. Didn't want to believe it. Tears leak from her clouded eyes. But then last month, when your parents came to visit, they mentioned removing you from the will. Said you developed some kind of substance problem? My blood turns to ice. That's not true. I don't have any substance problem. I know, honey. I know. But Marcus was here the day before they made that decision. Had a long talk with your father about tough love and how enabling you wasn't helping. The heart monitor next to her bed beeps faster as my pulse spikes. Everything starts clicking into place like puzzle pieces I never realized belonged to the same picture. The scholarship to Northwestern that mysteriously fell through when my recommendation letter contained information I'd never shared with my teacher, information only Marcus knew. The boyfriend in college who suddenly ghosted me after Marcus spent an evening getting to know him better. The job interview at Dad's firm where somehow my biggest professional mistake became water cooler gossip before I'd even started. How long? My voice comes out as a whisper. Honey? How long has he been doing this to me? Grandma Rose looks at me with such profound sadness that I know the answer before she speaks. I think since you were very small. Since you started bringing home those report cards. Straight A's. Perfect attendance. Academic achievement awards. Everything that made Mom and Dad beam with pride while Marcus sulked in the corner, still wearing grass stains from football practice. He's my brother, I say, but the words feel hollow. Blood doesn't excuse cruelty, Sarah. And what he's done, that's not sibling rivalry. That's something much darker. The oxygen machine hisses in the silence that follows, counting down the seconds of the only witness I'll ever have to 20 years of systematic destruction. I stay with Grandma Rose until she falls back asleep, but my mind is racing through every major disappointment in my life like a prosecutor building a case. Because that's what this is now, a case. And I'm very, very good at building cases. The drive home takes 43 minutes. I know because I'm timing everything now, cataloging details the way I should have been doing for years. 43 minutes to think about the summer internship at Goldman Sachs that evaporated when someone anonymously reported that I'd plagiarized my application essay. The essay I'd stupidly asked Marcus to proofread because he was so good with people and might help me make it sound less formal. I pull into my apartment complex at 11:17 p.m. and immediately call my friend Jessica from law school. She works in forensic accounting now, the kind of person who can trace financial breadcrumbs through a maze of shell companies and buried transactions. Sarah? It's nearly midnight. What's wrong? I need you to look into someone for me. Quietly. Very quietly. This sounds ominous. Professional or personal? Both. It's my brother. Jessica has met Marcus exactly once, at my graduation party 3 years ago. Even then, she pulled me aside afterward and said something felt off about him, though she couldn't put her finger on what. What am I looking for? Everything. Financial records, business dealings, any corporate entities he's connected to. He works for our family's construction company, Chen and Associates. Has for about 5 years now. I can hear her typing already. Jessica loves a puzzle, especially when it involves uncovering someone's secrets. Sarah, if I find something bad, what are you planning to do with it? That's the question, isn't it? What am I planning to do? 3 hours ago, I thought my biggest problem was whether to wear the navy suit or the charcoal gray one to court tomorrow. Now I'm contemplating the systematic destruction of my only sibling's life. I honestly don't know yet. Okay. Give me 48 hours. After we hang up, I sit in my car in the parking garage, staring at my phone. I have 17 missed calls from my mother, all within the last hour. My stomach drops. Grandma Rose. But when I call back, Mom's voice is strained for a different reason. Sarah, where have you been? I've been trying to reach you for hours. At the hospital with Grandma. What's wrong? Marcus called. He said you've been acting strange lately, asking family members for money. Said you seemed impaired when he saw you last week. I haven't seen Marcus in 3 months. Mom, that's not true. I haven't asked anyone for money, and I certainly wasn't impaired. Honey, Marcus is worried about you. We all are. He thinks maybe you should consider getting some help. The manipulation is so smooth, so practiced, that I almost admire it from a professional standpoint. He's already laying groundwork for whatever he plans to do next, poisoning them against anything I might say about him. When did he call you? About an hour ago. He was very upset, said he didn't want to betray your trust but felt he had to speak up. An hour ago. Right around the time I left the hospital. Has he been watching me? Does he know what Grandma Rose told me? Mom, I need you to listen to me very carefully. I am not using anything, I haven't asked anyone for money, and Marcus is lying. The silence stretches too long. Sarah, why would your brother lie about something like that? Because he wants me gone, I think. Because he's been trying to erase me for 20 years and he's getting better at it. Mom, can I ask you something? I gripped the steering wheel tighter. When you and Dad decided to change the will, whose idea was it originally? Another pause. Well, Marcus brought some concerns to our attention. What specific concerns? Sarah, I don't like your tone. Marcus showed us photos. My blood freezes. What photos? You, leaving what looked like a rehab facility. And there were some financial records showing large cash withdrawals from your account. Honey, if you're struggling with something, we want to help, but we can't enable. What rehab facility? My voice cracks. Mom, I've never been to rehab. When were these photos supposedly taken? Last month. March 15th, I think Marcus said. March 15th. I was in depositions all day for the Hendricks case, then grabbed drinks with my colleague Amanda at Murphy's Pub. But if someone photographed me leaving the medical building next door, where I'd gone to pick up my allergy prescription, and cropped it right. The financial records, Mom. What did they show exactly? Large cash withdrawals. 500 here, 800 there. Marcus said it's a pattern consistent with. She trails off. I pull up my banking app with shaking fingers. There, March 12th, $500 cash withdrawal. March 8th, $800. February 28th, $600. But I know exactly what each one was for: cash gifts for my assistant's baby shower, payment to my housekeeper who only takes cash, money for my goddaughter's birthday party. Marcus knows this because I mentioned it during our last phone call in December. The one where I stupidly complained about never having cash when I needed it, how I always had to hit the ATM for life events. Mom, those withdrawals were for gifts and services. I can show you receipts. Sarah, Marcus said you'd have explanations. He said addicts always have explanations. The word addicts hits like a physical blow. This isn't just about the inheritance anymore. He's systematically destroying my credibility with our parents, building a narrative where anything I say becomes evidence of my supposed problems. Put Dad on the phone. He's not here. He's actually meeting with Marcus right now about some concerns at the business. New panic floods through me. What concerns? Something about discrepancies in the books. Marcus found some irregularities and wanted to discuss them privately before involving outsiders. No. No, no, no. My mind races through the implications. Marcus has been working at Dad's construction company for 5 years, handling accounts receivable and vendor relations. He has access to everything: contracts, financial records, client payments. If he's been skimming money and is about to pin it on someone else. Mom, where are they meeting? The office, I think. Sarah, you're scaring me. Maybe you should come home for a few days, let us take care of you. I hang up and immediately call Dad's cell. Straight to voicemail. The office landline rings 4 times before Dad picks up. Chan and Associates. Dad, it's Sarah. Don't sign anything. Sarah? What are you talking about? Whatever Marcus is showing you, whatever he's telling you about money or discrepancies, don't sign anything until I can review it. I hear muffled voices, then Dad comes back on the line. Honey, Marcus says you might call. He's worried you're having some kind of breakdown. Dad, please. Just answer me this: are the discrepancies Marcus found connected to accounts or clients I've ever worked with? Long pause. Too long. Dad? Some of them involve the Yamamoto contract. The one you helped negotiate 2 years ago. My heart stops. The Yamamoto deal was worth $2.3 million. I'd worked on it during a particularly stressful period and had shared my concerns about some of the payment structuring with Marcus over family dinner. He's not just destroying my relationship with our parents. He's framing me for embezzlement. The phone goes dead in my hand. Dad hung up on me, something that's never happened in 28 years of my life. I sit in the parking garage, engine running, trying to think like an attorney instead of a terrified sister. Marcus isn't just opportunistic. This is orchestrated. The photos, the financial records, the timing of Grandma Rose's confession right when he's presenting evidence of embezzlement to Dad, it's all connected. My phone buzzes. Text from Marcus, asterisk hey sis, tried calling but you didn't answer. Can we talk? I'm worried about you, asterisk. The timestamp shows 11:43 p.m. He sent this while he was supposedly in a meeting with Dad about my alleged crimes. Which means he's been planning this conversation, probably rehearsing his concerned brother routine. I screenshot the message and call Jessica back. That was fast, even for you, she answers. Change of plans. I need you to prioritize the Yamamoto construction contract from 2019. Chan and Associates was the general contractor, $2.3 million project. Look for any irregularities in payments, especially anything that might look like embezzlement. Sarah, what's happening? My brother is framing me. Right now. Tonight. I fill her in on the phone call with Dad, watching my breath fog the windshield as I talk. Jessica, if he's been skimming from that account and doctoring records to make it look like I authorized payments, you'd be looking at federal charges. Wire fraud, conspiracy, maybe RICO if there's a pattern. Jessica's voice turned sharp, professional. How much access did he have to your work on that contract? I closed my eyes, remembering. Everything. I was staying at my parents' house that month because my apartment flooded. I worked from their dining room table, took calls there. Marcus was around constantly, offering to bring me coffee, asking about my cases because he was thinking about law school. Son of a bitch was gathering intelligence. It gets worse. He's already convinced our parents I'm a drug addict. They've written me out of the will based on fabricated evidence, and now he's positioning himself as the responsible son who discovered his sister's embezzlement. Jessica is quiet for a long moment. Sarah, if he's willing to frame you for felonies, what else might he be willing to do? The question hits me like cold water. I think about Grandma Rose's confession, about 20 years of sabotage disguised as bad luck. Marcus doesn't just want me discredited. He wants me gone. My phone rings. Dad's number. Don't answer it, Jessica says. Not until we know what evidence he's fabricated. Anything you say right now could be used against you later. But it's my father. The man who taught me to ride a bike, who cried at my law school graduation, who used to call me his little legal eagle. I answer. Sarah Elizabeth Chen. Dad's voice is ice cold, using my full name like he did when I was in trouble as a child. I want you to listen very carefully. Marcus has shown me documentation of unauthorized wire transfers totaling $347,000 from the Yamamoto account. The transfers were authorized using your employee access codes and routed to an account we've now discovered belongs to you. My hands start shaking so hard I can barely hold the phone. Dad, that's impossible. I don't have any secondary accounts, and I would never. The bank records show the account was opened in January 2019, right when you started working on the Yamamoto project. There are also records of cash deposits that correspond exactly to your recent withdrawal patterns. Marcus didn't just steal the money. He opened an account in my name, probably using information he gathered while I was staying at the house. Then he's been making cash deposits that match my legitimate withdrawals, creating a paper trail that makes it look like I've been laundering embezzled funds. Marcus is standing right here, Sarah. He's crying. Do you understand that? Your brother is crying because he thinks his sister is a criminal and an addict, but he loves you enough to try and get you help before we involve the police. The performance is flawless. I can picture it perfectly, Marcus with tears in his eyes, playing the anguished brother who just wants to save his family from scandal. Dad, please. Give me 24 hours to. You have until tomorrow at 5 p.m. to return the money and check yourself into a treatment facility. If you don't, Marcus will file a formal complaint with the authorities. The line goes dead. Jessica heard everything through the speaker. We need to move fast. I stare at my phone's black screen, watching my reflection distort in the glass. 24 hours. Marcus has given me 24 hours before he destroys my life completely. Sarah, you still there? Jessica's voice cuts through my spiral. I'm here. I start the car, needing to move, to do something other than sit in this garage feeling trapped. Jess, how sophisticated would someone need to be to pull off what he just did? Opening accounts in my name, creating false transaction records? More sophisticated than your average person, but not impossible. Especially if he had access to your personal information and time to plan. I hear typing in the background. But here's the thing, that level of financial fraud leaves digital footprints. Banks have security protocols, identity verification requirements. If he forged documents or used fake IDs, there will be evidence. I'm driving aimlessly through downtown Portland now, past the courthouse where I've won dozens of cases, past the office building where I thought I'd make partners someday. Everything feels surreal, like watching someone else's life fall apart. There's something else, I tell Jessica. The timing. Grandma Rose told me about Marcus tampering with my inhaler, and within hours he's presenting evidence of embezzlement to Dad. That's not coincidence. You think he knows what your grandmother said? I think he's been monitoring me. The thought makes my skin crawl, but it fits the pattern. He texted me at 11:43 p.m. while he was supposedly in a meeting with Dad. How did he know I wasn't answering my phone unless he'd already tried calling? My phone buzzes with another text from Marcus. Sarah, Dad told me about your conversation. I know you're scared, but I'm here for you. We can figure this out together. The gaslighting is so smooth it's almost artistic. Even knowing what he is, part of me wants to believe him, wants to call him back and let Big Brother fix everything. Instead, I dictate a response to my phone. Marcus, I need to see the bank records Dad mentioned. All of them. If you really want to help me, you'll send copies tonight. His response comes back in less than 30 seconds. Of course. I'll email everything we have. I love you, sis. He's too eager, Jessica observes. I put her on speaker while I drove. Innocent people don't usually have comprehensive financial evidence ready to email at midnight. We're quiet for a moment, then Jessica says, Sarah, I need to ask you something, and I need you to really think before you answer. In the past 5 years, since Marcus started working at your dad's company, have there been any other clients or projects where you consulted with the family? Any other cases where Marcus had access to your work? My stomach drops. The Brennan retail development. The Morrison apartment complex. The waterfront hotel project. Each name hits like a hammer blow. Jesus, Jess, what if the Yamamoto contract isn't the only one? What if he's been skimming from multiple accounts and I'm not his first scapegoat? Or what if you're meant to be the scapegoat for all of them? The possibility hits me like a freight train. I pull into a 24-hour diner parking lot because my hands are shaking too badly to drive safely. 3 major projects over 4 years, all worth millions, all cases where I'd worked from my parents' house and shared details with family. The construction industry is mostly cash-based, I whisper, pieces clicking together. Subcontractors, material suppliers, day laborers. It would be easy to skim payments, inflate costs, create phantom vendors. And with your legal expertise on the projects, you'd be the perfect fall guy, Jessica agrees grimly. Who's going to suspect the beloved son when the lawyer daughter has addiction problems and access to all the contracts? My phone buzzes with an email from Marcus. The subject line reads, Financial records, we'll get through this together, red heart. I forward it to Jessica without opening it. How long to analyze these? Give me 2 hours for a preliminary review. But Sarah, we need to think about your immediate safety. If Marcus realizes that you're building a case against him instead of panicking like he expected. She doesn't finish the thought, but she doesn't need to. Someone willing to frame their sister for felony embezzlement isn't going to just give up when the plan starts unraveling. I'm not going home tonight, I decide. I'll get a hotel room downtown, somewhere public with security cameras. Good. And Sarah? Don't contact your parents again until we know what we're dealing with. Every conversation gives Marcus more ammunition. After Jessica hangs up, I sit in the diner parking lot watching late-night truckers and insomniacs drift in and out under the fluorescent lights. My phone shows 12:47 a.m. 18 hours and 13 minutes until Marcus's deadline. I think about calling the police, but what would I say? That my brother might have embezzled money and framed me, based on my dying grandmother's confession and circumstantial evidence? Marcus has documentation, bank records, a pattern of concerning behavior from his troubled sister. I have suspicions and a family history of sibling rivalry. No, I need proof. Hard evidence that Marcus has been systematically destroying my life and stealing from the family business. Evidence that will stand up in court when this inevitably goes to trial. Because it will go to trial. Even if I can prove Marcus is behind the embezzlement, even if I can clear my name, there's no coming back from this. Our family will be destroyed, Dad's business will be ruined, and I'll spend the rest of my life as the sister who sent her brother to prison. But the alternative is spending the rest of my life as the disgraced lawyer who stole from her family and threw it all away on drugs. I check into a Marriott downtown using cash, signing in under my middle name. Tomorrow, I'll start building the case that will either save my life or end my family forever. Both feel like losing. The hotel room feels like a cell, generic beige walls, sanitized air, and the constant hum of the heating unit that reminds me I'm hiding from my own life. I've been staring at my laptop screen for 3 hours, waiting for Jessica's preliminary analysis, when my phone rings at 3:47 a.m. Please tell me you found something. I answer without checking the caller ID. Sarah? It's Mom. My blood turns to ice. Mom? What's wrong? Is it Grandma Rose? She passed about an hour ago. Peacefully, in her sleep. Mom's voice is thick with tears, but there's something else underneath, a careful distance that wasn't there before Marcus poisoned her against me. The grief hits like a physical blow, but it's tangled with panic. Grandma Rose was my only witness, the only person who could corroborate Marcus's pattern of sabotage. Now she's gone, and with her dies any chance of proving what he did to my inhaler 20 years ago. I'll be right there, I start to say, but Mom cuts me off. Sarah, honey, maybe it's better if you don't come right now. Marcus is handling the arrangements, and with everything that's happening. With everything that's happening? My voice cracks. Mom, Grandma Rose was my grandmother too. I loved her. Of course you did. But she was very upset her last few days, saying strange things about Marcus. The hospice nurse said sometimes the medication causes paranoid thoughts about family members. We don't want her final services to become about other issues. Marcus has been busy. Even in death, he's managed to discredit Grandma Rose's confession, writing it off as morphine-induced paranoia. I wonder what sob story he told our parents, probably how heartbroken he was that Grandma's final days were clouded by delusions about him hurting me. When's the funeral? I ask quietly. Thursday at 2 p.m. St. Mary's. Mom pauses. Marcus thinks it might be better for everyone if you get the help you need first. Show the family you're serious about recovery. And if I don't check myself into rehab by 5 p.m. today, I'm not welcome at my own grandmother's funeral? The silence stretches too long. Sarah, Marcus showed us more evidence tonight. After you hung up on Dad. New evidence. Of course there is. What kind of evidence? Text messages between you and someone named Devin about meeting times and prices. Mom's voice gets smaller. Honey, some of the messages are from last week. I've never texted anyone named Devin in my life. But I know exactly how easy it would be to fake text conversations, create a fake contact, send messages to yourself, delete the outgoing texts to make it look like responses from a dealer. Mom, can you read me one of these messages? Word for word? I don't. Marcus has the phone. But one of them said something about meeting behind Murphy's Pub at 9 p.m. for the usual. Murphy's Pub. Where I had drinks with Amanda on March 15th, the same day Marcus allegedly photographed me leaving the rehab facility. He's been watching me, learning my routines, building his narrative around my actual activities. What phone? I ask. These messages weren't on my phone. Marcus said you probably have a burner phone for these transactions. He found it in the glove compartment of your car. My car. Marcus has a spare key because he helped me move last year. He could have planted a phone, loaded it with fake conversations, then discovered it at the perfect moment. Mom, did you actually see Marcus find this phone, or did he just show up with it? Sarah Elizabeth, your brother is not planting evidence. He's trying to save you. But there's a tremor in her voice now, the first crack in her certainty. Where is he now? At the hospital, finishing paperwork for Grandma Rose. He's been there all night, taking care of everything while you. She trails off, but the implication is clear. While I was hiding in a hotel instead of being with family. After Mom hangs up, I immediately call Amanda, my colleague who was with me at Murphy's Pub. Sarah? Christ, it's 4 a.m. What's wrong? Amanda, I need you to think carefully. March 15th, when we had drinks at Murphy's, did you see anyone following us? Anyone taking photos? What? No, wait, why would someone be taking photos? I explain quickly about the rehab facility image and the planted text messages. Amanda listens with the sharp attention of another attorney recognizing the construction of a frame job. There was a guy, she says slowly. When we left Murphy's, I noticed someone in a dark sedan across the street. I thought it was weird because he seemed to be watching us, but then you got that call about your grandmother and I was focused on making sure you got to the hospital safely. Could you identify him? Maybe. But Sarah, this is seriously fucked up. Your own brother is stalking you? My laptop chimes with an email from Jessica. Subject line, urgent, call me immediately. Amanda, I have to go, but I need a favor. Can you write down everything you remember about March 15th? Times, locations, who we talked to, what we discussed. Everything. Already on it. Sarah, be careful. I dial Jessica's number before Amanda even hangs up. Please tell me you're sitting down, Jessica says without preamble. I'm lying down. It's been that kind of night. The bank records Marcus sent are sophisticated forgeries, but they're not perfect. The routing numbers don't match the bank branches where the accounts were allegedly opened. More importantly, the digital signatures on the account opening documents don't match your actual signature pattern from legitimate documents. Relief floods through me, the first good news in 12 hours. So we can prove fraud? We can prove the specific records he showed your father are fake. But Sarah, there's something else. I cross-reference the Chen and Associates client list with financial databases, looking for the projects you mentioned. The way she says it makes my stomach drop. What did you find? There are irregularities in all 4 major projects you consulted on. Not just Yamamoto, all of them. Brennan, Morrison, the Waterfront Hotel, and 2 others you didn't mention. We're looking at potentially $1.8 million in missing funds across 6 projects over 4 years. My mouth goes dry. Jesus Christ. It gets worse. The theft pattern is sophisticated: phantom subcontractors, inflated material costs, kickbacks from legitimate vendors. This isn't opportunistic skimming. It's systematic corporate fraud. And Marcus is setting me up to take a fall for all of it. Sarah, if he goes through with filing that police report at 5 p.m., you won't just be facing embezzlement charges. With amounts this large, across multiple projects, you're looking at federal racketeering charges. 20 years minimum if convicted. I stare at the hotel room ceiling, watching shadows from passing cars sweep across the acoustic tiles. Marcus isn't just trying to destroy my relationship with our parents or steal my inheritance. He's been systematically looting Dad's business for years, and I'm going to be his perfect scapegoat, the drug-addicted lawyer daughter with access to all the compromised accounts. There's one more thing, Jessica continues. I found preliminary incorporation papers for something called Chen Construction LLC, filed 3 months ago. Guess who's listed as the sole proprietor? Marcus is planning to take over the business. Everything clicks into place. After Dad's golden child gets arrested for embezzling, and Dad's reputation is destroyed by the scandal, Marcus will be the only family member left to pick up the pieces. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. *, Sarah, this is Marcus using Dad's phone. Mine died. Can we meet for coffee before I have to file the report? I really want to help you through this. Starbucks on 5th Street, 8 a.m. *. I screenshot the message and send it to Jessica. He wants to meet. Absolutely not. What if he's planning to offer me a deal? Confess to reduce charges in exchange for not pursuing the other projects? Or what if he's planning to record you saying something incriminating? Sarah, this man has been orchestrating your destruction for 20 years. He's not going to suddenly develop a conscience now. But even as Jessica talks, I'm calculating odds and possibilities. In 8 hours, Marcus files a report that will end my life as I know it. Unless I can prove he's the real thief in the next 8 hours. And to do that, I need him to make a mistake. Jessica, what if I wear a wire to the meeting? Sarah, you're not a cop. You're a potential target of someone who's already proven he's willing to destroy you. I'm also an attorney who's spent 5 years prosecuting financial crimes. I know how to get people to admit things they shouldn't. I'm already pacing the small hotel room, my mind shifting into courtroom mode. If I can get him to slip up, admit to something that only the real embezzler would know. And if he doesn't slip up? If he's recording you too, trying to get you to confess to crimes you didn't commit? My phone rings. Dad's number again. This time I let it go to voicemail, but I listened to the message immediately. Sarah, it's 4:30 a.m. and I can't sleep. Marcus told me about the coffee meeting. He's really torn up about this whole situation. Maybe you two can work something out before it goes to the authorities. I know he loves you, honey. We all do. The pain in Dad's voice nearly breaks me. 40 years of building Chen and Associates from nothing, and Marcus is about to destroy it all while making Dad believe his daughter is the villain. I have to take this meeting, I tell Jessica. But not at Starbucks. Somewhere I can control the environment. Sarah. The law library at PSU. Public space, security cameras, multiple exits. If Marcus is planning something, he won't try it there. Jessica sighs. If you're determined to do this suicidal thing, at least let me trace the money trail while you're playing detective. I've got contacts at 3 banks, and with the routing number discrepancies I found, I might be able to track the actual accounts Marcus has been using. After we hang up, I spend an hour researching digital recording laws in Oregon. 2-party consent state, which means any recording I make without Marcus's knowledge would be inadmissible in court. But if I can get him to agree to being recorded, supposedly to help with my recovery or to have a record for our parents. I draft a text response to Marcus. Coffee sounds good, but can we meet somewhere quieter? I need to think clearly about next steps. PSU Law Library, 8 a.m. 3rd floor study room 312 *. His response comes back within minutes. Perfect. I'm proud of you for wanting to face this. Everything's going to be okay. The fake concern in that message makes my skin crawl, but it also gives me hope. Marcus has been so successful with his manipulations because no one suspected him. Now that I know what he is, his tells are obvious, the 2 quick responses, the perfectly calibrated emotional language, the way he positions himself as my savior. I check out of the hotel at 6 a.m. and drive to my apartment to shower and change clothes. If I'm going to confront my brother about 20 years of systematic destruction, I'm going to look like the successful attorney I am, not like the desperate addict he's painted me to be. While getting dressed, I find myself staring at my reflection in the mirror. Same dark hair, same brown eyes as Marcus. We used to look so much alike that people assumed we were twins instead of 2 years apart. Now I'm looking for signs of the monster I never recognized, wondering how I could have been so blind. My phone buzzes with an email from Mom. Subject line, Grandma Rose's final wishes. The message is brief. Sarah, I found this letter in Grandma's nightstand. She wrote it last month and asked me to give it to you if anything happened to her. I think you should read it before your meeting with Marcus. The attachment is a scanned handwritten note in Grandma Rose's shaky cursive. My dearest Sarah, if you're reading this, then I'm gone and I pray I found the courage to tell you the truth before I left. Marcus has been hurting you for so long, and I've been a coward for not speaking up. But I kept records, sweetheart. In my safety deposit box at First National, box 847. The key is taped under my jewelry box, the one with the dancing ballerina. I documented what I could over the years, dates, incidents, things that seemed like accidents but weren't. I'm so sorry I failed you. Please don't let him win. Love, Grandma Rose. My hands shake as I read it twice, 3 times. Grandma Rose kept records. Physical evidence of Marcus's sabotage spanning years. It's 7:42 a.m. I have 18 minutes to get to the library and enough evidence sitting in a safety deposit box to potentially save my life. But first, I have to survive whatever Marcus has planned for our reunion. The PSU Law Library feels like a sanctuary at 7:55 a.m., fluorescent lights humming over empty study carols, the familiar smell of old books and fresh coffee from the vending machines. I chose study room 312 because it has glass walls on two sides, visible from the main circulation desk where a security guard sits scrolling through his phone. I set up my laptop and pull out a small digital recorder, the kind I use for client interviews. When Marcus arrives, I'll ask him to consent to recording our conversation for clarity about the repayment plan. Let him think I'm capitulating. At exactly 8 a.m., I see Marcus walking through the library stacks, and for a moment he looks like the big brother I remember from childhood, tall, athletic, with that easy smile that made teachers and parents trust him instantly. He's carrying 2 Starbucks cups and wearing his concerned family member expression. Sarah. He slides into the chair across from me, pushing one of the coffee cups in my direction. You look tired. Have you been sleeping? Even his fake concern makes my skin crawl now. About as well as you'd expect, given the circumstances. I brought your usual, vanilla latte, extra shot. He settles back in his chair, and I notice he's positioned himself between me and the door. Probably unconscious, but it fits the pattern of someone who needs to control every situation. I don't touch the coffee. Marcus, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be completely honest with me. Of course. That's why we're here. I want to record our conversation. Not for any legal reason, I lie smoothly, but so I can listen back later and make sure I understand everything clearly. My head's been fuzzy lately, and this is too important to misremember. Marcus doesn't even hesitate. Absolutely. Whatever helps you process this. He gestures toward the recorder. I want you to get better, Sarah. That's all any of us want. I press record and state the date, time, and that Marcus Chen has consented to this conversation being recorded. Then I lean forward, letting my voice crack slightly. I need to understand how this happened. The Yamamoto account, can you walk me through exactly what you found? Sarah, are you sure you want to go through all this again? Dad and I went over everything last night. I was so shocked yesterday that I couldn't think straight. But if I'm going to get help, I need to face what I did. I hate how easily the defeated tone comes. Please. Help me understand. Marcus's eyes light up, just for a fraction of a second, but I catch it. He likes this, seeing me broken down and asking for his help. Okay. He pulls out his phone and opens what looks like a banking app. It started in January 2019. Small transfers at first, 5,000 here, 8,000 there. Always to account number 447291837 at Cascade Community Bank. He's rattling off specific numbers without checking notes. That's not how someone recalls information they recently discovered, that's how someone recites information they've memorized through repeated use. 447291837, I repeat slowly, like I'm trying to remember. That number sounds familiar. It should. It's your account, Sarah. The one you opened on January 15, 2019. Can you show me the account opening documents? Marcus hesitates for just a moment. I don't have them with me, but the bank confirmed your identity was used. Which branch? I ask. I mean, if I opened it, I should remember where, right? The Hawthorne location. Another instant response, no checking required. You went in on a Tuesday afternoon, around 2 p.m. I nod like this is helping me remember, but I'm calculating. January 15, 2019, was indeed a Tuesday. I was in depositions for the Henderson case from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. that day. I can prove it with court records. Marcus has just handed me evidence that he's intimately familiar with details about an account I never opened. Marcus, can I ask you something else? How did you know to look at the Yamamoto account specifically? I mean, Dad has dozens of client accounts. I've been reviewing all our major projects lately, trying to streamline our accounting processes. He leans forward, adopting his earnest expression. The Yamamoto irregularities were just the most obvious. What other projects did you review? Well, Brennan, Morrison, the Waterfront Hotel project. A few others. He shrugs like it's no big deal, but he's just confirmed Jessica's findings about systematic theft across multiple accounts. And you found irregularities in those too? Marcus goes very still. Why do you ask? Because if I have a problem, if I've been doing what you think I've been doing, it probably wasn't just one project, right? I let my voice get smaller, more ashamed. I need to know how bad this is, Marcus. All of it. Sarah, let's focus on getting you help first. We can deal with the other issues later. Other issues. Plural. He's just admitted there are multiple projects with problems, but he's trying to walk it back. How much? I whisper. Total. How much did I steal? Sarah. I need to know what I'm facing. Please. Marcus looks at me for a long moment, and I can see him calculating. Finally, he says, around 400,000 across several projects. Jessica said 1.8 million. Marcus just underreported the theft by $1.4 million, but only someone with intimate knowledge of the actual stolen amounts would know to downplay the figure. 400,000. I put my head in my hands, genuinely overwhelmed, but not for the reasons Marcus thinks. Jesus, how did I let it get that bad? Addiction is a disease, Sarah. But you're facing it now, and that's what matters. I look up at him, and for just a second, I see something cold flicker across his expression. He's enjoying this, watching me confess to crimes I didn't commit, seeing me broken and dependent on his mercy. Marcus, I need to ask you one more thing, and I need you to promise to tell me the truth. Anything. Is there any chance, any possibility at all, that someone else could have done this? Used my access codes somehow? His face hardens almost imperceptibly. Sarah, your employee codes were used. Your signature is on the transfer authorizations. Your account received the money. But theoretically, could someone else? Who? His voice sharpens. Who else would have access to your codes, your personal information, your work on these projects? The question hangs in the air between us. Marcus has just outlined exactly what the real thief would need, access to my codes, my personal information, and detailed knowledge of my work on the compromised projects. All things that Marcus has had for years. I guess you're right, I say quietly. I keep hoping there's some other explanation. There isn't. His voice is gentle again, but there's steel underneath. Sarah, I need you to understand something. If you don't check into treatment today and start making arrangements to return the money, I'll have to file the police report. I don't want to, but I can't let you drag our family down with you. How long do I have? Marcus checks his phone. It's 8:47 now. I told Dad I'd file the report at 5 p.m. if we couldn't work something out. 8 hours and 13 minutes. And if I do check into treatment? If I agree to pay back the $400,000? Then we handle this as a family. Quietly. You get the help you need, make restitution, and we move forward. But his eyes are calculating as he says it, and I realize this offer isn't real. Marcus needs me to go to prison to complete his takeover of the business. The treatment offer is just another manipulation, designed to make him look reasonable when I inevitably refuse help and force him to involve the authorities. I reach over and turn off the recorder. Okay. I'll do it. Really? He looks genuinely surprised, like he expected more resistance. Really? Can you help me find a facility? Of course. Marcus is pulling out his phone, all helpful energy now. There's a place in Bend that specializes in professionals with addiction issues. Very discreet, excellent reputation. Bend is 4 hours away. Far from Portland, far from anyone who might help me, far from Grandma Rose's safety deposit box. That sounds perfect, I lie, watching Marcus's face light up with satisfaction. But I need to take care of a few things first. Grandma Rose's safety deposit box, she left me some jewelry, and I should probably secure it before I go away for treatment. The change in Marcus's expression is so subtle I almost miss it, just a tiny tightening around his eyes. Sarah, maybe that should wait until after you get help. You don't want to be handling valuables when you're not thinking clearly. It'll just take an hour. The bank opens at 9, and I have her key. I'm watching his face carefully as I say this. She left me a note about it. A note? Now he's trying to sound casual, but there's tension in his voice. What kind of note? Just sentimental stuff about her jewelry collection. You know how she was. I shrug, feigning disinterest. Probably just her wedding ring and those pearl earrings she always wore. Marcus nods, but he's thinking hard about something. Which bank? First National downtown. Box 847. I'm giving him real information because I want to see what he does with it. Actually, would you mind coming with me? I'm still feeling pretty shaky about everything. Of course. Family should stick together. But he's already texting someone on his phone. Let me just cancel a meeting I had this morning. I gather my things, including the digital recorder, and we walk through the library together. To anyone watching, we look like a normal brother and sister having coffee. But I can feel the tension radiating off Marcus, and I know I've touched a nerve. In the parking garage, Marcus insists we take his car. You shouldn't be driving right now, Sarah. Let me take care of you. It's a reasonable offer that makes perfect sense, which is exactly why it terrifies me. I text Jessica under the table while Marcus starts the engine, going to First National with M Box 847. If you don't hear from me by 10 a.m., call police. The drive downtown takes 12 minutes, and Marcus fills the silence with concerned questions about treatment facilities and recovery timelines. But I notice he takes a route that passes the Cascade Community Bank branch on Hawthorne, the one where he claimed I opened the fraudulent account. Hey, can we make a quick stop? I point to the bank. I want to see if I can remember opening that account. Maybe it'll help with my recovery to face what I did. Marcus's hands tighten on the steering wheel. Sarah, I don't think that's a good idea. You're already fragile, Anne. Please. I need to do this. He pulls into the parking lot, but I can see him calculating rapidly. Actually, let's handle your grandmother's box first. The Cascade branch will still be here later. We drive the remaining 6 blocks to First National in silence. Marcus parks directly in front of the building, in a spot marked for 15-minute banking only. Like he's planning a very quick visit. Inside the bank, I approach the safety deposit box desk while Marcus hangs back, supposedly giving me privacy but actually positioning himself where he can see everyone who enters or exits. I need to access box 847, I tell the clerk. Rosechin was my grandmother. The young woman checks her computer, then frowns. I'm sorry, but there's already someone accessing that box right now. Has been since we opened at 9. My blood turns to ice. Someone else is in my grandmother's box? I'm Mr. Marcus Chin. He had proper documentation and keys. Are you here with him? I turn around slowly, but Marcus is gone. The bank lobby is empty except for 2 elderly customers at the teller windows and a security guard reading a newspaper. My phone buzzes with a text from Marcus, had to step outside for a call. Take your time with the box. But Marcus isn't outside. And he's been in Grandma Rose's safety deposit box for the past 23 minutes, destroying whatever evidence she kept of his 20-year campaign against me. The clerk is looking at me with growing concern. Ma'am? Is everything all right? How long until the other person is finished? Hard to say. He requested a private viewing room, said he needed time to go through documents. Documents. Grandma Rose's carefully kept records of Marcus's sabotage, probably the only proof that could corroborate her confession. Evidence that could establish his pattern of behavior going back decades. Evidence he's destroying right now while I stand helplessly in the lobby. Ma'am? The clerk tries again. Should I let Mr. Chin know you're here? No, I say quickly. Actually, I'll come back later. I walk toward the exit on unsteady legs, my mind racing through implications. Marcus knew about the safety deposit box before I mentioned it. He got here early, somehow obtained keys and proper documentation, and he's been systematically destroying evidence while manipulating me into believing I had some kind of leverage. How long has he been planning this? Did he know what Grandma Rose told me before she even said it? Outside the bank, I call Jessica immediately. Thank God, she answers. I was about to call the police. What happened with the safety deposit box? Marcus is in there right now, destroying evidence. He got here early, had keys and documentation. I'm pacing on the sidewalk, checking every car for signs of surveillance. Jess, how could he have known about the box unless he's been monitoring me somehow? Or monitoring your grandmother? Sarah, get out of there right now. If he's willing to destroy evidence, you're not safe. But even as Jessica talks, I'm thinking about the timeline. Grandma Rose died at 2:47 a.m. Mom called me at 3:47 a.m. Marcus supposedly spent the night at the hospital handling paperwork, but the bank opened at 9 a.m. and he's been there since opening. He wasn't at the hospital all night, I tell Jessica. He was preparing for this. Sarah, where are you right now? Outside First National. Marcus thinks I'm still inside, but I stop talking because Marcus is walking out of the bank, carrying a small manila envelope and looking grimly satisfied. When he sees me on the sidewalk, his expression shifts instantly back to concerned brother mode. There you are. Everything okay with the box? Actually, there was a problem with the paperwork. We'll have to come back later. I'm amazed at how steady my voice sounds. That's probably for the best anyway. Marcus pockets the manila envelope casually, like it's nothing important. Ready to head to Bend? I called ahead, and they have a bed available for you this afternoon. This afternoon. He wants me gone today, before I can access whatever evidence he hasn't already destroyed, before I can build a case against him. Marcus, I'm scared, I admit, which is the first completely honest thing I've said all morning. I know you are. But I'm going to take care of everything, Sarah. That's what big brothers are for. He puts his arm around my shoulders in what looks like a comforting gesture, but feels like a trap closing around me. We're driving toward Bend when my phone rings with a number I don't recognize. Marcus glances at the display and his jaw tightens almost imperceptibly. Don't answer that, he says. You need to focus on getting better, not dealing with work drama. But something about his reaction makes me hit the answer button anyway. Sarah Chen. Ms. Chen, this is Detective Rodriguez with Portland PD Financial Crimes. I need to speak with you about discrepancies in the Chen and Associates accounts that were reported this morning. My blood turns to ice. Marcus was supposed to wait until 5 p.m. It's only 10:30 a.m. I'm sorry, Detective, but I think there's been a mistake. No report was supposed to be filed until later today. Marcus is staring straight ahead of the highway, but I can see his knuckles going white on the steering wheel. Ma'am, we received a comprehensive report at 7:15 this morning from a Marcus Chen, along with extensive documentation of unauthorized transfers totaling $1.8 million across 6 construction projects. $1.8 million. Not the $400,000 Marcus told me about an hour ago. He's been lying about the scope even while I was supposedly confessing. Detective, I need to clarify something important. Marcus swerves suddenly onto an exit ramp, tire squealing. Sorry, he says loudly into the phone speaker. Construction zone. Hang up and call them back when we get to the facility. But I don't hang up. Detective Rodriguez, I'm currently with Marcus Chen, and I believe there may be fraudulent evidence in his report. I need to come in immediately and provide my side of the story. Ms. Chen, are you in a safe location? The question hits me like a physical blow. A police detective is asking if I'm safe with my own brother. I look at Marcus, whose concerned brother mask has finally slipped completely. His face is cold, calculating. I'm not sure. Ma'am, can you tell me your current location? Marcus reaches over and grabs my phone, ending the call. For a moment we sit in complete silence on the side of Highway 26, traffic rushing past us. You couldn't just take the help, Marcus says finally. His voice is different now, flat, emotionless. 20 years I've been cleaning up after you, fixing the problems you create, and you couldn't just accept responsibility for once in your privileged little life. Fixing problems I create? My voice cracks with disbelief. Marcus, you've been sabotaging me since we were children. You tampered with my inhaler, destroyed my scholarship opportunities, stole nearly $2 million from Dad's business. Dad's business. He laughs bitterly. You mean the business I've been running while he played favorites with his precious little attorney daughter? I've been doing the actual work for 5 years while you swanned around in courtrooms getting all the credit. So you decided to frame me for embezzlement? I decided to make your addiction to stealing money an official problem instead of a family secret. Marcus starts the engine again, pulling back onto the highway. The beauty of this whole situation, Sarah, is that everyone already believes you're guilty. Mom, Dad, the police, they all have comprehensive evidence of your crimes. My phone starts ringing again, Detective Rodriguez calling back. Marcus glances at it and makes a decision that terrifies me. He rolls down his window and throws my phone onto the highway, where it explodes against the asphalt in a shower of glass and plastic. Marcus, what are you doing? Protecting the family. Dad's business, Mom's reputation, our legacy. You were always going to burn it all down eventually, I'm just controlling the timing. We're driving deeper into the mountains now, and I realize with growing panic that we're not going to any treatment facility. The manila envelope from Grandma Rose's safety deposit box is sitting on the dashboard between us, and I can see the corner of what looks like a photograph sticking out. What was in Grandma's box? I ask. Marcus glances at the envelope, then back at the road. Evidence of a very disturbed old woman's paranoid fantasies about her loving grandson. Photos of me in public places she claimed were surveillance, medical records she stole from your pediatrician about your asthma attacks, even ticket stubs from events she thought I sabotaged. He shakes his head sadly, but his eyes are cold. The hospice nurse was right, the medication really did make her paranoid toward the end. Thank God I was able to secure her delusions before they could hurt our family's reputation. Those weren't delusions, Marcus. You really did those things. I protected our family from your constant need for attention and praise. Do you have any idea what it was like, growing up in the shadow of perfect little Sarah? Every report card, every academic award, every achievement that made Mom and Dad forget they had another child? The highway is getting more remote, fewer cars, more forest. My heart is pounding as I realize that Marcus didn't just frame me for embezzlement, he's planned something much worse. Where are we going? Somewhere quiet, where you can think clearly about your situation. Marcus's voice is calm, almost gentle. You're going to call Detective Rodriguez back and confess to everything. Explain how the pressure of stealing so much money drove you to a breakdown, how guilty you feel about destroying Dad's business. And if I don't? Marcus reaches into his jacket and pulls out a small digital recorder, the same model as mine. Then I play them this recording of you confessing to embezzling $400,000 and asking for my help covering it up. My stomach drops as I realize what he's done. While I was recording him this morning, he was recording me too. And with selective editing, my questions about the stolen amounts and my fake confession could sound like genuine admissions of guilt. You thought of everything. I've had 20 years to plan for this conversation, Sarah. 20 years of watching you coast through life on natural talent while I did the actual work of holding our family together. The road sign ahead reads, Silver Creek Falls State Park, 15 miles. Remote hiking trails. Steep cliffs. Places where people have accidents. I think about Grandma Rose's confession, about Marcus tampering with my inhaler 20 years ago. About how close I came to dying that day, and how Marcus watched it happen with perfect concern on his face. Pull over, I say suddenly. What? Pull over right now, or I'm grabbing the wheel. Marcus looks at me like I've lost my mind, which maybe I have. But I'd rather take my chances on the highway than end up at the bottom of Silver Creek Falls with a confession recording that explains my suicide as guilt over stealing from the family business. Sarah, calm down. I grab the steering wheel and yank it hard to the right. The car careens across 2 lanes before Marcus regains control, pulling hard onto the shoulder as gravel sprays against the windshield. We sit there breathing heavily while semis thunder past, rocking the sedan with their wake. Are you insane? Marcus's mask has completely fallen away now, his face twisted with rage. You could have killed us both. Better than whatever you had planned at Silver Creek Falls. I'm fumbling with my seatbelt, desperate to get out of this car, away from him. Marcus reaches across and grabs my wrist, the same way Grandma Rose had grabbed mine 3 days ago, but his grip is meant to hurt. You're not going anywhere, Sarah. Not when we're this close to fixing everything. Fixing everything? I try to pull away, but his grip tightens. Marcus, you've stolen nearly $2 million from Dad's company. How does framing me fix that? Because when the grieving family sells Chen and Associates to him, Chen Construction at a discount to pay for legal fees and restitution, I'll be able to return the money quietly over time. Dad gets to retire with some dignity, Mom doesn't have to face the shame of having a criminal daughter, and the business stays in the family. The scope of his planning is breathtaking. He's not just destroying me, he's engineering a complete takeover while positioning himself as the family's savior. What about the federal charges Detective Rodriguez mentioned? You can't make those disappear. Marcus finally releases my wrist, leaving finger-shaped bruises. Suicide notes are very effective at ending investigations, especially when they include detailed confessions and expressions of overwhelming guilt. My blood turns to ice. I'm not suicidal, Marcus. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows you've been struggling with addiction and facing 20 years in federal prison. People break under that kind of pressure. He pulls out his phone and shows me a document that makes my heart stop. Especially when they leave behind notes like this. It's a suicide letter in my handwriting, or a perfect forgery. The paper looks familiar, like stationery from my apartment. The letter confesses to years of embezzlement, expresses crushing guilt about destroying the family business, and apologizes for being too weak to face the consequences. How long have you been planning this? I wrote the first draft 6 months ago, when I realized the federal auditors were getting close to the Yamamoto discrepancies. Insurance policies, you know, always good to have contingency plans. Marcus folds the letter carefully and puts it back in his jacket. I've been refining it ever since, making sure it captured your voice perfectly. A new wave of horror washes over me as I understand the timeline. Marcus has been planning my death for half a year, long before Grandma Rose's confession, long before this morning's confrontation. The frame job wasn't his endgame, it was just the setup. Marcus, please. I'm your sister. You were never my sister. His voice is completely flat now, devoid of any warmth or humanity. You were the obstacle that stood between me and everything I deserved. The golden child who made me invisible in my own family. My phone starts ringing from somewhere. I realize I have a backup phone in my purse, the old iPhone I keep for emergencies. Marcus hears it too and lunges across the seat, but I'm faster. I grab my purse and roll out of the car onto the highway shoulder. The backup phone shows 15 missed calls from Jessica and 3 from Detective Rodriguez. I hit callback for the detective while running toward the tree line, Marcus shouting behind me. Detective Rodriguez, this is Sarah Chen. Marcus Chen is trying to kill me. We're on Highway 26, about 20 miles east of Portland near the Silver Creek Falls turnoff. Ms. Chen, stay on the line and find somewhere safe. We have units en route to your last known location. Behind me, I hear Marcus's car door slam and his footsteps on gravel. I'm running into the forest now, branches catching at my clothes, my professional heels slipping on wet leaves. Sarah. Marcus's voice echoes through the trees, still carrying that fake concerned tone even now. You're having a breakdown. Come back to the car and let me help you. Even as he chases me through the woods, he's still performing for any potential witnesses. The phone crackles with static as I lose signal among the trees. Detective Rodriguez's voice cuts in and out. Units are, location, stay hidden until. Then silence. I'm alone in the forest with my brother who spent 20 years trying to destroy me, and now he's finally ready to finish the job. I'm crouched behind a massive Douglas fir, trying to control my breathing while Marcus crashes through the underbrush somewhere behind me. The forest is eerily quiet except for his movements and the distant hum of highway traffic. My backup phone has no signal, but the screen shows 11:47 a.m. Detective Rodriguez said units were en route, but how long until they arrive? Sarah, this is ridiculous. Marcus's voice carries through the trees, closer than I'd like. You're going to hurt yourself running around out here in those shoes. Come back and we'll figure this out together. Even now, he's maintaining the concerned brother act. I wonder if he's practiced it in mirrors, perfecting the right tone of worried affection. I hear his footsteps moving past my hiding spot, heading deeper into the forest. When the sounds fade, I risk moving toward what I hope is the highway. But after 10 minutes of careful navigation through dense undergrowth, I realize I'm completely lost. The trees all look identical, and I can barely hear the traffic anymore. My phone buzzes with a text from an unknown number. Asterisk Sarah, it's Jessica using a friend's phone. Rodriguez told me what's happening. Marcus called your parents 20 minutes ago saying you had a psychotic break and ran into the woods. They're coming to help search for you. Don't trust anyone who finds you until police confirm their identity. Asterisk. My blood runs cold. Marcus is bringing mom and dad here, probably with some story about how I confessed to the embezzlement and then snapped under the pressure. They'll see me hiding in the forest, disheveled and panicked, and it will confirm everything he's told them about my mental state. Another text from Jessica. Asterisk more news. Bank records show the fraudulent account was opened using a fake ID with your photo but Marcus's fingerprints on the application. We can prove he impersonated you. Asterisk. Finally, concrete evidence. But I need to survive long enough to present it. I hear voices now, multiple people calling my name. Some sound like search and rescue volunteers, others I recognize as family friends. Marcus has turned this into a full-scale missing person search, painting himself as the hero trying to save his unstable sister. Sarah. That's Dad's voice, strained with worry. Honey, Marcus told us what's been happening. We just want to help you. I want to run toward him so badly it physically hurts. But Jessica's warning echoes in my head, don't trust anyone until police confirm their identity. Marcus has had hours to manipulate the story, to position himself as my would-be savior. Through the trees, I catch glimpses of flashlights and orange safety vests. The search is getting more organized, more thorough. They're going to find me soon, and when they do, I'll be the crazy woman hiding in the woods while her loving family tries to help her. My phone buzzes again. Asterisk police are 15 minutes out. Detective Rodriguez says to stay hidden until you see actual uniformed officers with badge numbers. Marcus has been telling everyone you're armed and dangerous. Asterisk. Armed and dangerous. Of course he has. Now when they find me, they'll approach cautiously, ready to subdue the unstable criminal who might hurt herself or others. I hear Marcus's voice closer now, talking to someone. She took off running when I tried to drive her to treatment. I'm worried she might hurt herself. She was talking about not being able to face prison. Setting up the narrative for when they find my body. Sarah Chan, overwhelmed by guilt and facing federal charges, tragically took her own life rather than destroy her family's reputation. Marcus tried so hard to save her, but addiction and mental illness won the battle. The voices are getting closer. I need to keep moving, stay ahead of the search until real police arrive. But my heel catches on a root and I go down hard, my phone skittering across the forest floor into a pile of wet leaves. By the time I retrieve it, the screen is cracked and showing no signal at all. I'm completely cut off now, alone in the woods with a search party led by someone who wants me dead, and no way to contact the outside world. In the distance, I can hear Marcus coordinating the volunteers. Let's spread out more. She's scared and confused, so she might not respond even if she hears us calling. 14 more minutes until real help arrives. I just have to stay alive for 14 more minutes. I'm moving as quietly as possible through the undergrowth when I hear something that stops me cold, my own voice, coming from somewhere ahead through the trees. Marcus, I need to understand how this happened. The Yamamoto account, can you walk me through exactly what you found? It's the recording from this morning. Marcus is playing it back, loud enough for the search party to hear. She was asking me to help her cover up the embezzlement. Marcus's voice carries clearly in the forest air. I tried to convince her to get treatment, but she kept insisting there had to be another explanation. I creep closer, staying hidden behind a cluster of pine trees. Through the branches, I can see Marcus standing in a small clearing with Dad, Mom, and two men I don't recognize, probably volunteer searchers. He's holding his phone up like evidence. Listen to this part, Marcus says, and I hear my recorded voice again. How much? Total. How much did I steal? Around 400,000 across several projects. 400,000. Jesus, how did I let it get that bad? The recording cuts off there, edited to remove Marcus's admissions about the other projects, his too detailed knowledge of the fraudulent account numbers, all the evidence that proved he was the real thief. She was planning to run, Marcus tells the group, his voice heavy with manufactured sadness. I think she realized the police would figure out it wasn't just the Yamamoto account. There are irregularities in 6 major projects, totaling nearly $2 million. Mom makes it sound like she's been physically hit. 2 million? Marcus, you said it was just the one project. I was trying to protect her, trying to give her a chance to come forward on her own terms. Marcus puts his arm around Mom's shoulders. But the federal investigators already know about the other accounts. She's facing 20 years minimum. Dad's voice is hollow. Where could she have gotten the idea that someone else was responsible? On the recording, she kept asking about other explanations. Addiction causes paranoid thinking, Marcus says smoothly. She was convinced someone was setting her up, that the family was against her. Classic symptoms of stimulant abuse combined with the pressure of getting caught. Stimulant abuse. He's told them I'm on drugs, probably based on the fake text messages he planted in that burner phone. Every detail of my supposedly erratic behavior has been carefully constructed to support his narrative. We need to find her before she does something irreversible, one of the searchers says. People in her situation, facing that kind of prison time, they make desperate choices. My hands are shaking as I back away from the clearing. Marcus isn't just destroying my reputation anymore. He's creating a detailed backstory for my suicide in front of multiple witnesses. When my body is found, everyone will remember this conversation about my drug-induced paranoia and desperation. I check my phone, still no signal, and the cracked screen shows 12:03 p.m. Rodriguez said 15 minutes at 11:47. The police should be here any moment. But then I hear new voices approaching the clearing, authoritative, professional voices calling out badge numbers and asking people to step back. Finally. Portland PD. We need to speak with Marcus Chen immediately. Thank God. I start moving toward the voices, but Marcus's response stops me cold. Officers, thank God you're here. My sister Sarah is somewhere in these woods, and she's armed with a knife from my car. She's threatened to hurt herself rather than face prison. Armed with a knife. I never saw any knife, which means Marcus planted one in his car specifically for this moment. Now the police will approach me as a dangerous, suicidal suspect rather than a victim. Sir, we're going to need you and the other civilians to clear this area immediately. This is now an active police operation. I hear people moving, footsteps and voices fading as the search volunteers are escorted away. But Marcus's voice cuts through the noise. She might be hiding near the creek bed, that's where she used to go as a child when she was upset. He's directing the police away from my actual location, but why? Unless he needs me found in a specific place. Somewhere isolated enough that if things go wrong, if I try to tell the police the truth about the embezzlement, there might be an accident during my apprehension. My phone suddenly chirps with a single bar of signal. A flood of text messages downloads at once. Jessica, * bank confirmed Marcus's fingerprints on fraudulent account applications. Arrest warrant being issued, *. Jessica, * Detective Rodriguez says do not approach police in the forest. Marcus told them you're armed and suicidal. They're treating this as a barricade situation, *. Jessica, * get to the highway. Real officers will meet you there with warrant for Marcus's arrest, *. The highway. I need to get back to the road, but I've been wandering through these woods for over an hour. Every direction looks identical, and the police voices are spreading out through the forest, getting closer to my position. I pick a direction that feels right and start moving, trying to be silent but quick. Behind me, I can hear someone, probably an officer, calling out, "Sarah Chan, this is Portland Police. We're here to help you. Put down any weapons and come out with your hands visible." The irony is suffocating. The police are here to arrest Marcus, but he's convinced them I'm the dangerous one. Even my rescue has been turned into another layer of his frame job. I push through a wall of blackberry bushes, thorns tearing at my jacket, and suddenly I can hear highway traffic clearly. Close now. Maybe 200 yards. But I also hear footsteps behind me, moving fast. Sarah, wait. I turn around and Marcus is there, alone, no police in sight. His concerned brother mask is completely gone now, replaced by cold calculation. Interesting news from the bank, he says conversationally, like we're discussing the weather. Apparently my fingerprints were on some paperwork they shouldn't have been on. 12 minutes. I just need to reach the highway and the police officer's waiting there with his arrest warrant. But Marcus is standing between me and freedom, and he's not pretending to be my loving brother anymore. The police are looking for you about 50 yards that way, Marcus says, pointing deeper into the forest. I volunteered to check this section alone. Told them I know all your old hiding spots from when we were kids. My back is pressed against a massive cedar tree, and I can feel the rough bark through my torn jacket. Marcus is maybe 10 feet away, close enough that I can see the calculation in his eyes as he figures out his next move. They have a warrant for your arrest, I tell him. Jessica found the bank records with your fingerprints. I know. He sounds almost relieved. Detective Rodriguez called me 20 minutes ago. Very apologetic about the mix-up, said they needed to bring me in for questioning to clear up some inconsistencies. So it's over. You can't frame me anymore. Marcus laughs, and the sound makes my skin crawl. Sarah, you still don't understand how this works. I've been building your profile as an unstable drug addict for months. Even when the fingerprint evidence clears you of the bank fraud, you'll still be the sister who had a psychotic break and ran into the woods making wild accusations. He pulls out his phone and shows me a video that makes my blood freeze. It's security footage from this morning's coffee meeting, but the audio has been edited. My voice asking about the Yamamoto account has been cut together with different responses, making it sound like I'm confessing to taking the money. I've sent this to Detective Rodriguez, along with a very concerned message about how you seem to be having drug-induced hallucinations during our conversation. Marcus pockets the phone. The fingerprints might prove I opened the accounts, but this video shows you admitting to the actual theft. The forest seems to be closing in around me. Even with evidence of Marcus's fraud, he still managed to position himself as the victim of my accusations. Marcus, they'll figure out the audio is edited. Will they? You're a lawyer, Sarah. You know how long digital forensic analysis takes, especially when the suspect is missing and presumed dangerous. He takes a step closer. By the time they prove the recording is fake, the narrative will already be set. The sister who stole $2 million and blamed it on her loving brother when she got caught. In the distance, I can hear police radios crackling and officers calling my name. They're getting closer, but they're still treating me as a threat, not a victim. What do you want? I ask quietly. I want you to walk out of these woods and tell Detective Rodriguez that you had a breakdown, that the stress of the embezzlement investigation made you paranoid, and that you're sorry for wasting everyone's time with false accusations against me. Marcus's voice is perfectly reasonable, like he's suggesting we grab lunch. You check yourself into psychiatric treatment, I express concern about your mental health, and we move forward as a family. And the embezzlement charges? Well, someone has to take responsibility for the missing money. But with proper psychiatric evaluation, the courts are usually sympathetic to people suffering from addiction-related mental illness. He shrugs. Reduced sentence, treatment-focused rehabilitation. You could be out in 3 years. 3 years for crimes I didn't commit, while Marcus takes over Dad's business and positions himself as the son who stood by his troubled sister through everything. What if I refuse? Marcus reaches into his jacket and pulls out a hunting knife, probably the one he told police I was carrying. Then they find your body with this knife and a suicide note expressing overwhelming guilt about destroying the family business. The edited recording becomes evidence of your final confession before you couldn't live with the shame anymore. The knife blade catches the filtered sunlight coming through the canopy above us. 20 years of sabotage and manipulation, and it's all leading to this moment in the woods where Marcus finally stops pretending and shows me exactly what he is. Choose quickly, Sarah. Detective Rodriguez is about to call off the search and declare this a recovery operation instead of a rescue. I stare at the knife in Marcus's hand, and something inside me finally snaps. Not into panic or despair, but into the cold, calculated fury of a prosecutor who's just been handed the final piece of evidence she needs. You're recording this conversation, aren't you? I say quietly. Marcus blinks, thrown by the sudden change in my tone. What? Your phone. It's been recording since you found me, hasn't it? Just like this morning at the coffee shop. You need audio of me either agreeing to your deal or threatening you before you use that knife. His slight hesitation tells me I'm right. Here's the thing, Marcus. You made one critical mistake. I pull out my cracked phone and hold it up. My emergency contact isn't Jessica. It's my paralegal, Amanda. The one who was with me at Murphy's Pub on March 15th. Sarah, you're not making sense. Amanda has been listening to this entire conversation through an open line. Every word you've said about the knife, about editing recordings, about framing me for embezzlement. I smile, and for the first time in 20 years, I see actual fear flicker across Marcus's face. She's also a notarized court reporter, which means her testimony about what she heard will be admissible in federal court. Marcus lunges toward me with a knife, but I'm already moving, diving sideways behind the tree as his blade bites into bark where my head was a second before. Officer down. Suspect armed with knife. I scream at the top of my lungs, using the exact phrasing that will bring every cop in these woods running. The response is immediate, crashing footsteps, shouting voices, radio chatter exploding through the forest. Marcus realizes his mistake too late. In his fury, he attacked me while police were within earshot, destroying his carefully constructed narrative about the suicidal sister who hurt herself. Sarah Chan, get on the ground now. The suspect is Marcus Chin. I shout back, staying behind the tree. I'm Sarah, I'm unarmed, and I'm the victim. Two officers crash through the underbrush, weapons drawn, and the situation becomes crystal clear immediately. Marcus is standing in the open holding a bloody knife, while I'm crouched behind a tree with torn clothes and defensive wounds on my arms. Drop the weapon. Now. Marcus looks between the officers and me, and I can see him calculating one final manipulation. She attacked me. I was trying to defend myself. But Officer Martinez is already calling it in, suspect in custody, victim is secure. We need EMS for minor lacerations and psychiatric evaluation for the suspect. Psychiatric evaluation. Not for me, for Marcus. 20 minutes later, I'm sitting in the back of an ambulance while a paramedic cleans the cuts on my arms. Through the open doors, I can see Marcus in handcuffs, ranting at Detective Rodriguez about how I'm a drug addict who embezzled $2 million and tried to frame him. But Rodriguez isn't listening to his story anymore. She's listening to Amanda's recorded testimony of Marcus's confession in the woods, cross-referencing it with the fingerprint evidence from the bank, and watching Marcus destroy his own credibility with every desperate lie. Ms. Chen, Rodriguez approaches the ambulance. We've arrested your brother on charges of aggravated fraud, attempted murder, and conspiracy. The bank records confirm he opened multiple fraudulent accounts using stolen identity documents. What about the embezzlement charges against me? Dropped as of 30 minutes ago. The edited recordings were sophisticated, but not sophisticated enough. Rodriguez almost smiles. Your brother apparently didn't know that modern digital forensics can detect audio manipulation within hours, not weeks. I watch Marcus being loaded into a police car, still performing his concerned brother routine for any cameras that might be present. Even now, even caught with literal blood on his hands, he can't stop trying to control the narrative. My phone buzzes with a text from Dad, Sarah, I'm so sorry. We're driving to meet you at the hospital. Marcus showed us so much false evidence, but we should have trusted you. Can you ever forgive us, 20 years of sabotage, 6 months of planning my death, and it all unraveled because Marcus couldn't resist one final moment of gloating before he killed me. The paramedic finishes bandaging my arms and asks if I need anything else. Just one thing, I tell him, watching the police car disappear down the highway with my brother in the back seat. Can I get a copy of today's incident report? I think my malpractice insurance is going to need documentation that I really was the victim this time. For the first time in 20 years, I'm not looking over my shoulder wondering when Marcus's next sabotage will hit. Because there won't be a next time. He's going to prison for attempted murder, and I'm finally free.